Today we've got quite a few good talks on. We'll talk about a lot of platform engineering and a focus on K-Gateway, and then we'll also talk a lot about the agent gateway as well, because that kind of sits on top of K-Gateway. So it's going to be very interesting to see our journey as well. So what we'll cover our journey. So Emmett and I have used Kubernetes for maybe not how long? Long time, 8 years.
Yeah.
Long time.
A very long time.
Yeah, we've been on about 4 release teams each. So the release team is responsible for actually shipping Kubernetes itself. So being both maintainers and a lot of open source projects as well. Yeah, it's good to talk about a journey to Cascade because we have many issues being in the regulatory environment. So we have CPS 230, 234, PCI, SOC 2. So it's very challenging, which is it makes it even funner to do this kind of stuff in as well. So part of the reason why we chose to adopt K-Gateway, so if you don't know K-Gateway, that's a CNCF open source tool. So Solo.io have donated to the CNCF, which is the governing body for a lot of cloud-native tools. And we did have a requirement where we're using Ingress NGINX. So most people would know the NGINX proxies. Ingress NGINX was the ingress control for Kubernetes for many, many years. And it was a very battle-tested tool adopted by so many companies throughout the world. And it actually fell out of maintainership. So in Kubernetes you have the concept of interfaces. So one is the Ingress API, and that started to die out. So over time it was being deprecated, like everything gets deprecated over time, and that was where the gateway API was born. So a lot of businesses probably still run on Ingress NGINX, which is out of support. It probably has been for 2 years. I don't think they've contributed to Ingress API for maybe 2.5 years now. So that's why that was quite a strong lever to move to K-Gateway. So that's when we started looking at, next slide please, so the Gateway API. So what the Gateway API is it's the next generation Ingress for Kubernetes. It's the central ingress point for all of our services. So in Cascade Cloud Team, we're building a platform, and you can think of it more of an operational platform. So we use it for GitHub runners, we use it for observability platforms, so OpenTelemetry Collector, Prometheus, Info, a lot of the core platform capabilities. And what it's given us is, it's given us a central ingress point. So we connect it with Cert Manager and ExternalDNS. And what that does is it abstracts away that pain point for the developers. So the developer will come in and say, I want this URL, and it will issue the certificates, it will do the AWS Route 53, and it does it all for us. So it's portable, and a lot of other open source tools sit on top of the API gateway as well. So you can see 3 personas, 1 cheap gateway, and here you'll see this is the hierarchy of how it works. So you have the concept of gateway class, gateway. So in Cascade we have an internal gateway and a public gateway. So the public is used for things like SFTP, so the SFTP service that we're doing, and then everything internal like Grafana, Backstage, that all goes through our internal gateway. So that has an NLB attached to it, and then the public is the ALB. And all plug and play with Cert Manager, so it gives, we don't have to worry about all of that, it's taken care of for us, so we just build on top of it, plug and play, and you're ready to go. These are some of the differences between Ingress and Gateway API. So yeah, there's been quite a lot of differences in there, and why we chose Kgateway. Built on top of Envoy, so Envoy is extremely popular. We did consider using Envoy on its own, so you can, but we found that Kgateway was the right mix of operational overhead. So Envoy is very cool if you have a lot of capacity, and if you're more of a startup that's more has more agility. So Kgateway was a perfect mix because we like the concept that you can actually have an AI gateway as well, which will lead into the talk after regarding agent gateway. So it's a more new generation way of doing Ingress. So that's probably one of the most, I mean, it has full API conformance, and when we chose it right, it was agent gateway was the one that really got us. Yeah. So we did do a talk at CloudCon about a year ago on the agent gateway side of it. So it'll be interesting to see your talk today to see what's progressed through. That was about a year ago. So it'll be really cool to see what new features in the agentic world for Kubernetes as well. There's a lot of things like the agent sandbox, so there's a lot of new features coming out here. And we have really liked Kgateway. Each version they have a lot of new features. So Houston here on his phone, not paying attention. He loves when new releases come out, so he's just watching all the time, and he can't wait to install the latest version of Kgateway. And it's become quite a core part of our platform. It's one of the biggest building blocks that we have. And that's any questions so far on Kgateway. Do you want to do the rest?
Yeah. So, as you can see, we basically leveraged Kgateway to quite a large extent, but what we also did was we ensured to make it very extensible. So any of our internal teams can start leveraging this as of today. And we simplified it and templatized the whole setup into a Helm template. So tomorrow, if say there's a different team within Cascale who comes and says, hey, we want to start using Kgateway, so we have listener policies which are in place. So listener policies and all are going to help with ensuring that there is whitelisting, etc., which is there. You will easily, by using Helm templates, we decide who gets Kgateway, who doesn't get Kgateway. It's something as simple as a flag. You don't have any complexity in it. Similarly, finally, you have HTTP routes. Not only can you use like Ingress where you just stick to your same old HTTP routes, but we also leveraged it for SFTP, which was not even possible on Ingress NGINX. So, so this supports TCP routes, and it supports gRPC and all of these different protocols, which were not even supported previously by Ingress NGINX. So that is one of the big steps that we have moved in the right direction. And here you can see that we, by default, have provided people the option of /health, /ready, /metrics. So anybody who creates a new app, they can just ensure that these particular metrics and health, etc., are just available on these paths. And that's going to make all the difference to ensure that teams can easily adopt this tooling. So why did we go around using this? So whether it is talking about routing and aggregation or load balancing, you can pick and choose what type of load balancers Kgateway uses. You can choose your routing methodologies, what protocols you want to use, whether it's TCP protocol, whether it's HTTP. And in our case, we basically leveraged it for SFTP more specifically. Rate limiting. So tomorrow, if you all have a new API and you'll decide, hey, like no one should be hitting, let's say, for example, a Vault API for more than 1,000 times within a couple of minutes or so, then you can rate limit them. That makes things very simple and easy as far as rate limiting is concerned. This would massively help a lot of people when or expect certain amount of traffic. because one of the main things that you want is rather than your application going down, like where you feel like it goes like a DDoS attack, you would rather keep your application up and limit how many people can access it at a time. Security. So you can have mutual TLS in place. Certificates and DNS generation is supported out of the box. So by integrating it with Cert Manager and ExternalDNS. So once you set all of this up to work in conjunction with each other, it becomes as easy as Ingress NGINX. All you have to do is put in annotations within your YAML files, and the DNS will be created, the certificate will be created. Certificate rotation is automatic when you're leveraging Cert Manager, so that makes it simple as well. And resiliency, so whether you want to do traffic mirroring, you want to test fault injection, you decide retries and circuit breaking, or you decide that you want to start using Argo Rollouts for your canary deployments. Everything is supported in this. So highly recommend you all to go and play around with K-Gateway. Not only does it support something internal within Kubernetes, it also now supports AWS Lambdas. So you can actually route traffic to AWS Lambdas from K-Gateway, which was not previously possible. Why is this important? Because now you can use tokens. You can allow only certain IAM rules to access those Lambdas, even externally, or you can also ensure that you create secrets or tokens for accessing these Lambdas, which restricts who can access these Lambdas. So here you can see what are the new integrations which are available. So there is Argo Rollouts, which is there, which you can use for canary deployments, blue, green, etc. My preference is canary, but each to their own. You have DLS and TLS automations. As I was telling you all, leverage ExternalDNS, leverage Cert Manager, you all are good to go. And Istio, which is also a tool which is created by, it's a service mesh which is available, and it is also created by Solo. It's also open source, so you can integrate with Istio as well, and you can integrate with AWS ELBs. So whether you decide to go an ELB route or an NLB route, good to go. What else do you want from an Ingress? You want telemetry, you want observability, because you want to know how many people accessed my service, how often they access my service. In case of a security attack, it's also handy to understand, okay, we had around 10,000 people trying to access this particular server. So you can factor in all those metrics and decide what you want to do. So it's handy not only from a telemetry purpose where you want to see how often your service is used, but it's also handy from the perspective of thinking from security, especially in a financial organization. Along with that, you can also take care of tracing. And one of the main things that came from K-Gateway is Agent Gateway, which we played around it and tested, as Brad was saying, and go for it.
Yeah, so this is what, 1 year, maybe more?
Yeah, slightly more than a year.
Yeah, and this is where we first started playing around with AI, and that was probably the thing that got us to start going with K-Gateway, right?
Yeah.
MCP native, so there's another open source tool from Solo called Kgen, and KMCP now, right?
Yeah.
I haven't used that yet, but that looks interesting. So what was cool as well is it's MCP native, so it's first class support for MCP traffic patterns. You can also bake in guardrails as well, and then the traffic, so you can route the traffic. So it's the single interface to your LLM, so whether you use AWS Bedrock, Azure Foundry, whatever, it's the single one URL, how do you say one URL? Like
yeah.
One entry point, and then you can just route everything. So that won't change. Your AI gateway will always be the same, and then all the development needs to point to is the AI gateway and your way. So that was one really, really cool thing that got us started with K-Gateway. And yeah, what was the migration approach? So it was hard at the time because Aaron and I like to sort of tinker on breaking edge, bleeding edge technology. So we do adopt things very, very early. I remember 5 years ago we did Argo CD application sets out of dev branch, so they weren't even out yet. So it was quite challenging at the time because we were porting from dev, so we did have to fix quite a few things as we went, but that's kind of the journey of how you learn. So it was actually quite hard. Now it's easy because it's more mainstream, more support, but at the time we had to go off Ingress NGINX because it was a security concern, but we did learn a lot along the way. We did do in parallel, got both working, and then we cut over to KGateway once we were happy. So back then, Agent Gateway was being built into the Helm chart, and then now they've split it out. So it actually didn't work when we first used it, so we had to fix it to actually keep working to see what it was. So that was when we first did it. Anything else that you want to share about? Maybe the Argo Rollouts would be cool one day to do a demo on as well.
Yeah, we would do the canary deployment showcase of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you want to go through a little bit of Young, or we don't have time?
No, we don't have time. I think we have to bit.
Okay. Yeah, David.
So would you use KGateway for client-facing applications? And then the second follow-up on that is, who would be the support person? Who's the maintenance for KGateway? So if you had a problem with it, who could you reach out to help you with that?
Yeah, so the question was, could you use KGateway for customer endpoint, so customers, and who would be responsible for the support if that broke? So this is very much platform engineering, so the platform, so at Cascal, with the use cases we use it for, the cloud team does it, and what we've done is we've done 100% GitOps, so that's our principles. All defined as code, run through Argo CD. So we would be responsible for that core infrastructure, and this would be a core infrastructure building block. And we have, as you can see, like the baked-in observability we have set up to the alert, so that goes down, we will respond straight away as P1 and P3. And yeah, you can absolutely use it as an entry point, and we recommend that actually. And I actually, to be honest, didn't even know that they had support landed in us. That's very cool. Afterwards. So, yeah, the customer will come in. They have, when we talked about ExternalDNS, that's another tool, but that, maybe quickly show you just the HTTP route, if you can put it on there. So I'll quickly show you what it is. But essentially, what you see here is what's called an HTTP route. So this is as simple as it gets for when you want your URL or your entry point. And you can have TCP route for like other ports that are not the HTTP. And what you're saying here in the annotations for, so you can see on line 18, you're using ExternalDNS. So what that does is that will actually pick up your URL that you specify and automatically into your text record, so DNS records into FTP for you on your behalf. And it will make you a certificate, it will renew it, so you never have to renew it yourself. It's not a manual task. Like most incidents come from certificate renewal. So this takes care of all of that. And then you can specify your gateways, like we said before, so you can have separate gateways for specific tasks, and then you'll have your services, so that will then route to your services, so then you can have your Kubernetes service with span multiple pods or multiple values. So you can absolutely use it for customer facing stuff as well. And you can see that out of the box you have rate learning, all of that's baked into our code and template that we give. And all you need to worry about is code. You write this, all you need is, this is actually templated, so this is a Helm template, and you would just say, I want payments or customer IO or whatever it is, and you just get it straight away, and you perhaps your payments. So,
yeah. So we have gone ahead and not only done this, we have also integrated this with Backstage. Why does that help you? So tomorrow if you'll decide, you know what, we don't even care about the YAML, that's too complicated, we don't want to deal with it. Go into our platform, go and fill up the form, and you'll have it out of the box. What we can do and take it one step ahead is, so as we were mentioning KMCP, what is KMCP is a framework to create your own MCPs. We can also create a MCP server for all our engineers within Cascal in order to perform this right from the computer. If they don't want to deal with like, hey, I don't want to deal with how to create this, talk to the MCP will generate the YAML for you automatically. You're good to go, or it will fill up the form for you automatically and you're good to go. So we can play. Yeah. So we can pick and choose how we want it. Here you can see that this is very specific to just HTTP route, but along with HTTP route, we also have a listener policy, and this is what we use for whitelisting. So quite a few times what you'll notice is we basically have traffic policies. We'll ensure that CIDRs are, certain CIDRs are blocked based on that. So that's how we would manage all of these things if you decide to start using this.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to read because it's templated if you don't know Helm templating, but
yeah.
You can just, the long story short is it's templated. You don't even need to worry about it. You just need to worry about your values that you put in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your values. So you just fill that out. You don't care about the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes it very easy for you to figure out how to use something, what you want to use, and how AWS will go and generate it. So it makes it very simple for you to use and leverage. Yeah. Any other questions?
So the way when I hear the features that you talked about in one of the slides, it occurred to me as a HashiCorp's console has HashiCorp's console offers pretty much the same features and services as does this care gateway. Right? So that's my understanding. How is this better than console?
I think console would probably be a better comparison to Istio as a service mesh, right,
Correct.
opposed to K-Gateway. So you would actually compare that to the service mesh, which is mapping those services. The K-Gateway is the single cluster, and then Istio is that meshes out multi-cluster. So you can't quite compare that, but I guess you can talk more of that when you talk about, and just before you talk to answer that in more depth, but yeah, HashiCorp console kind of lost the race as well, similar to HashiCorp Nomad, when they tried to do container orchestration. So, but yeah, there is still people who use the console as well. He can talk more over it than me, but it's not a like for like.
Yeah. So, just to add on to what Brad said, console is more on the service mesh side where you can do service discovery. So if we have east-west traffic, if you want to route do service discovery on Kubernetes, you can.
Features like rate limiting and some kind of IP address blacklisting, all of those are features that I saw when I was going through console's documentation as well. So it kind of I wasn't able to see the difference.
Yeah. So let me talk about the similarities so that you know what the differences are. Similarities are, again, that's also based on the gateway API. So you are going to manage your rate limiting if you want to do authentication.
Draw a diagram or don't?
All of that is still available.
I was going to draw a
But
diagram.
you can do a lot more than that.
We can't.
Like console, for example, which is very similar to what Istio does. If you want to do service discovery, if you want layer for TLS, MTLS, for example. In that
After
case,
done
you
diagram,
would
move
use
it down.
something like console or Istio service mesh. K-gateway is more on ingress use cases where traffic is coming to your application. So it's more north-south. Can it be used for east-west use cases? Yes. But in that case, you would probably then use either Istio or console for that matter. So and again, console is HashiCorp, which is basically IBM now. And then K-Gateway and is still being known by CNCF, which are open source.
Yep.
So you can talk as I about it. So the thing about K-Gateway is being, like David's question was around the customer entry point. So that's your ingress, and then the Istio is more like east-west traffic between clusters to mesh them together. So K-Gateway handles inside. You have other things like cluster mesh, and there's other concepts, but that's kind of the difference between them that he was saying. Yeah.
So K-Gateway is more concerned with, is more to serve the purposes of north-south.
Yeah. So also do remember the part where you don't necessarily need to add a complicated tool like a service mesh for something as simple as ingress.
If you don't need it.
If you don't need it. Like that's like, you know, you can go from here to Vineyard either directly, or you could go all the way to Blacktown and then go to Vineyard. So depends on what you want to do.
Yeah. That's a very good analogy. Or you can go to Vineyard in a tunnel where only you are going, and you're authenticating who's coming, who's out, who's going out. That's basically MTLS, right?
Yeah.
Do you need that? Maybe not, right? So again, it depends on your use case. Maybe if you're someone who needs that protection, and maybe if you're going to the bank, or I don't know, some security guy with a lot of cash, and then which goes through a secret tunnel. Yeah, you probably need that sort of security. But for simple ingress use cases, like Amit said, maybe an overkill. You could do that. SQ could, or console can very well do north-south. Nothing stops it from doing.
So I think to the proper understanding would be all of the features like rate limiting and everything for north-south.
Yes.
As opposed to east-west.
That's correct. And it's basically a simplified ingress tooling rather than having a complicated beast of an engine. So yeah, it's just something which is nice and simple.
Yeah, and for SEO, you would have deeper network policies and things like that as well. So it's kind of inside the customer opposed to, going into it. I hope that answered it. But HashiCorp still have very good tools as well. Yeah. Except for when I was involved. No. But great question, and thanks for the discussion. That was very cool. Didn't we have one more question?
Horatio.
Oh, yeah, Horatio.
Yes, so is K-Gateway extensible as in with programming languages? As an example, RPG, you can run a JavaScript policy or Python or even Java. So for complex use cases, can you add in a script?
Yeah, I can quickly draw that if you want. So sorry, let me get rid of this console. So for the app, let's say this is your container with your Java app, let's say. K-Gateway doesn't care what the app is at all. So you will have your pod that sits in here, and in Kubernetes, the lowest resource is a pod. On top of a pod, you have a service. So all K-Gateway talks to is the service. So what happens here is let's say that's your Hello World app, and then you have a service. Is that spelled right?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. And then let's say your Java app is called app payments. And then you might also have a few pods of that, so you can have 3 replicas, and K-Gateway only cares about the service, so you're routing over the port that service, and then the service is responsible for talking to the pod, which has the Docker has the entry point open, or the port open, sorry, where your app's exposed, and then K-Gateway only routes to your backend. So when you see over here the HTTP route, you can see your backend ref. So you don't need to learn a language, it's just YAML. And it's not even YAML, it's even better than that, it's just that there. So you want to go to your section, you have your section name which splits into the service, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is a very simplified template that you do not need to overcomplicate. Any additional functionality that you have, technically K-Gateway is an open source tool. You can write whatever you want. Yes. Whether it's going to get merged into the open source part of it, different story. For that, everybody within the open source team should feel that your functionality is adding value to everyone and is completely related and compliant with the R policies, then yes. Otherwise, no.
So here's trying to simplify as well, just taking all the Go templating out. You just have your backend ref, which is a service name and a port, and then you come in through the main entry point K gateway, and then it routes to your services for you. Yeah.
Okay.